In the headlines, there's a lot made of the limitations of EVs, in particular things like their charging times and range. So we wanted to see if this was the experience of our speakers. So we asked them, is there anything you miss about driving a petrol or a diesel car? And these are their responses.
I've become accustomed now to being, and it becomes sort of part of the process, and almost becomes part of the, the part of the experience now is doing that sort of bit of planning about where you're going to stop. We'll stop there and we can have coffee, and then, it just becomes a different type of journey in that respect. But you are right in terms of that ability to, say, for example, that there was some kind of emergency or something like that, and I needed to jump in the car and drive up to Edinburgh in an instant, something like that. Then that ability just to be able to make that journey and not have to give a second thought. I wouldn't say I miss it, but yeah, it's certainly it is an issue you certainly need to bear in mind. Although I think one thing which people are not really thinking about yet, and all of the coverage at the moment is about, the increase in the amount of charging infrastructure for EVs, but there is undoubtedly going to be concomitant reduction in the availability of refueling stations for combustion engine vehicles over time. We are at the start of this journey where at some stage there'll be a tipping point almost where it becomes a situation where it becomes much easier that to end up traveling around in an electric vehicle than it does to travel around in a combustion engine vehicle.
The heater, but having said that, I think they've got better. So I think they're trying to strike a balance, and especially, ours is the older model. So you get, in the summer, you might get 100 miles on a charge, and in the winter, you might get 60, and if it's like -2. They're really trying to optimize the mileage that you can get out of a charge. And so I feel like they've underdone the heating a little bit. I'm like, if you get an old Zoe, get a nice pair of driving gloves.
This is a particular personal thing, is that, one of my main hobbies is sea kayaking.
Yeah.
Now, it does seem to be the case, a sea kayak is a 17-foot boat, 17 or 18-foot boat. It's quite a long thing. And so you really need an estate car to put it on. And so there are actually there's almost no options at the moment in terms of battery vehicles that are also estate cars. One, MG have just started producing one with a fairly limited range, in all honesty. At the moment, there are small vehicles, the little hatchbacks, like the Zoe, like the Vauxhall E, there are a number. And then there's a gap. And then there are various models of SUV getting more and more expensive. But there's nothing in between. And as I say, the SUVs, the roof's just basically too high up for me to put a sea kayak on it on my own. It's just that simple. There are no options which fit my particular bill. If there were, then great, I would look at that. But there aren't, and so I can't.
You'll just lack the noise. If you kind of get off on listening to a V8 burbling on the overrun coming down the Alps, there's nothing you can do about that, really. You just have to have it on the tape, and play it on it in the headphones or something. And funny enough, some electric cars do offer internal sounds to kind of cheer up petrol drivers, which, I don't know. No, the answer is genuinely, honestly, I just can't see myself ever wanting to go back in any way.